Hi everyone, good to be back in Iceland again as well, and thanks to Dave for introducing kind of this really enterprise level vision for decentralised compute. I want to drill down into Lilypad, which is what we are creating. It leverages a lot of the Bakuya work that has been done in the past, and we are adding kind of these Web3 guarantees to the network to try and both incentivize it as well as, be able to create this trustless network. So the vision, we are creating this verifiable, trustless, decentralized compute network. Yes, you can run your AI and ML jobs. I have to say that everywhere now, right? That's part of the deal. The team, but we'll just flick through that. The engineers are going to get up and talk about the technicals later. So again, this isn't a technical talk, but more about the whys of what I want to do here. So we're trying to create like a really serious decentralized compute application layer here. We're creating this trustless internet scale distributed compute network. And we're all deeply involved in the Web3 ecosystem here. So I think we've kind of seen that this is like the next frontier for infrastructure in the Web3 space, at least, or the decentralized Web3 space. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. Like, compute has always been a core need, but I think one of the reasons that it hasn't got to that point yet is we just weren't ready. Firstly, we needed to build other protocols. We needed the storage side. We needed to build scaling layers as well, which is all happening now. And we're seeing much more work happening on this verifiable compute part of the system as well, because the research is just starting to catch up with it. And we've got the underlying components ready to go as well. Yeah, so I've skipped ahead of myself there, but there you go. So verifiable trustless computation also enables kind of this internet scale compute. And we're trying to bring like mainstream Web3 applications leveraging these key properties of the blockchain out into the open and to not be kind of segregated from this Web2 world either. So this is one of the ways we're going to create this decentralized internet and these new data economies as well. So I've got some both practical and ideological reasons for why we need decentralized compute networks like Lilypad. I know Dave has done a great job of giving some of the stats and reasons for distributed networks and how we need to share data, and that's amazing. I've got a slightly different take. So what Lilypad can do is offer this independent global marketplace for GPUs and compute power and create this kind of global coordination for hardware. And now if we think about the Filecoin network as well, we already have like so many storage providers with a bunch of data centers. So it would make a lot of sense for them to also be using that and being valued for using that for compute jobs as well. So secondly, we're going to be accessible to everyone on the same terms. So it's permissionless network. It's also, looks like I haven't pressed these, but anyway, permissionless and trustless network. And thirdly, we want to use a distributed hardware network with like these inbuilt cryptographic trust mechanisms. So we have built it on Solidity, but I'm not going to like steal the technical thunder here. We've leveraged Bakuya and this cutting edge verifiable compute research, both of which you're going to hear about next, and created kind of this off-chain compute with on-chain guarantees. Why? So Lilypad is for decentralized AI. It's not just a buzzword for Web3 either, but it's kind of a serious topic for the future of AI, in my opinion. So like I said earlier, there's both practical engineering challenge or engineering things addressed by a decentralized compute network like this, and Dave mentioned some of those. And there's these ethical kind of challenges that are coming up, which we can help address with these distributed networks as well. So one of those is kind of models are closed source at the moment. They require vast amounts of compute power to train, and we're introducing biases of whoever has trained them and whoever's put this data together into these data sets. And we've all seen this with AI like many years ago. I feel like we're repeating ourselves a little bit here. And they're controlled by a few large companies, which isn't great. So I think AI has like this immense potential to provide this benefit to humanity, but provided it's kind of accessible and like everyone should be able to contribute to this AI revolution, so to speak. There's a great talk actually by a guy called Peter Wang, who does a way better job of telling you why these property and rights for an AI era are necessary and why we should all be involved in that as well. There was also this leaked, I don't know if anyone's seen this, but there was this leaked kind of Google document that said Google and OpenAI have no moat. They're saying in this basically that open source models are faster, they're easier to customize, they're more private, and they're more capable. This is a really splashy document at the time. And it's true, right? Open source developers and hobbyists, so we've seen the open source movement for 20 years now, are better at figuring out what use cases these kind of AI things are useful for, and better at getting to the end of, to solutioning those or to innovating around those as well. The problem is, there's GPU resource constraints. So access to GPUs at the moment is one of the key problems for open source AI and ML. And it's really hard for maybe new startups or even a scientist or a developer working in this space trying to come up with a solution to access GPUs, afford GPUs, or well, those are the two main things actually. So one thing we can do with these DPIN solutions or decentralized physical infrastructure networks is leverage this into this universal available network for compute. So that's what we're trying to do. Again, efficiency and pricing. We're cutting out the middleman here basically. So we're aligning supply and demand by providing these GPUs for AI and ML and giving new revenue streams to the people that have this idle compute as well. So oligopolies, we all know, don't make really good use of hardware or provide good pricing models for users. And I've actually got, I mentioned this to Brooklyn yesterday, so I've got a quote from you in my slides. Anyway, so Lilypad is good for distribution as well. So like Brooklyn's mentioned here, if you look at large cloud providers, their data centers are in the same places. And we are really leaving out the rest of the world. I love this quote. So things like opening up GPUs to be used anywhere in the world is something we could go about addressing here as well. So quick recap, there's practical answers here and there's kind of trustless solutions for ethical challenges going on here. All right, and since we're working directly at the intersection of AI and blockchain, I would be remiss not to mention some of the thoughts around that as well. So I think Lilypad is great for kind of these Web3-led AI solutions as well. So Web3 is really good at unlocking network effects and providing guarantees and values to people as well. And we can really bring this to, all developers. This isn't like a Web3, Web2 solution. So, cheaper, open, better distributed, and more efficient compute power. I don't know. Anyway, okay, that was weird. Sorry. And, we're talking about Filecoin compute applications as well. They're scaling FVM. We're able to do WASM jobs on this compute network as well. And of course, we're at the scaling IPC track as well. So imagine building kind of the power of tokenized data sets, which we can do so far on Filecoin, and data DAOs in the Filecoin ecosystem, and bringing the ability for decentralized AI and ML to that. We can kind of envision that we're going to have these kind of machine learning DAOs happening around the edges as well, or like Dave mentioned as well, but in a different manner. So lots of opportunity, I think, for this with Filecoin network as well. Kind of mentioned this as well. I just wanted to mention it again, and this is a great article that was put out by TLDR if people haven't read it yet. So open source is community ownership, open verification, and OpenAI, like actual OpenAI, does a better job of solving kind of these real issues I've mentioned, one of which is proof of humanity and provenance, I think, in the Web3 space, and attribution models. So I'm not sure if everyone's seen it, but we created kind of this proof of concept around attribution models called Waterlily.ai, which takes in, needs updating, this is an old version of Stable Diffusion, but it takes in an artist's kind of original works, and then we create a model for them out of that, and a user can go on to Waterlily.ai, pay for their generated artwork in one go, get 4 images back, and the artist is attributed and paid for their original works as part of that. So that is one of the solutions. We're putting together like this demand for AI with kind of this, the fact that we have a heap of GPUs in the system already in crypto. You can have a look at what Lilypad unlocks as well. The roadmap. All right, so we've just released Lilypad version 2, which Luke and Kai are going to give you an amazing demo of. This was really like, they put a lot of work into this. There was a lot of consensus mechanisms. There's a lot of solidity coding and late nights going on here. So we're really excited to mention here in Iceland that we've released Lilypad v2 as well. In the future, we're also like integrating with IPC Tendermint, which will also give us the ability to kind of have that regional focus for where jobs run as well, I think, in the future. Or just, that'll be a pretty interesting integration. And the other thing we do want to mention is that we are going to be running an incentivized testnet, and we're going to release details around that soon in November. So if you're an SP or you have like spare GPU power, we'd love to hear from you and find out how you can be part of the pilot program. That's it. That was meant to say questions. So if anyone's got any questions, happy to answer them. Otherwise, you get to see all the cool stuff now.